365, we making a place. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
What's going on, everybody? We are live here on Real Talk on this lovely Monday evening. How is everybody? We got Dev here. We got Kenny, long time no see.
Man, Kenny back.
I'm back.
Welcome back, my man.
Appreciate it. Man, it's good to be back. High school season is over. It literally goes like a blink of an eye. It feels like we lost in the regional semifinals, so we didn't quite get to the goal that we wanted to. But 21-7, got 4 seniors that should be playing college ball somewhere. So all in all, it was a successful season.
All right, congratulations, Dev. What's going on with you, man?
Oh man, just coming back off of Deep Creek Mountain with my family. Had some little cabin time with my family. Went snow tubing, and did some other family activities out there. Man, shout out to my my little cousin on her 18th birthday that just passed. My baby get ready. She's a senior in her last year of high school, man, and like Kenny said, man, blink of an eye, man. I remember she was just a little wham, man. Now it's just she about to hit off to college after this year, man. It was real dope that we did that. So it was cool.
Good deal. Glad to hear it. I'm excited to be here. Excited to be back with y'all. So it's exciting times. We got the Knicks on tonight. I see Kenny repping. Knicks are
we're rolling.
Looks like they're 8-9. I have it 9. Boston's on an 8-0 run. So good start for the Knicks. A light slate of games tonight. But y'all know why we're here. Damian Lillard, another 71-point performance this season. Dame set a number of other records. I will start with the obvious question. How impressive was this? Kenny, we'll get you in first.
It's crazy impressive. The fact that I think the biggest thing is the fact that we've seen this happen twice in the same year. This is the second person that has put up a 70-piece. So I know we're going to get to it later, but this is just a testament to Dame. He really doesn't, a lot of times he doesn't really get his just due in terms of just how prolific a talent he is. This was just an example of this dude, man. He we always talk about Steph, and of course it's, by choice and it's by reason, because he is literally the greatest shooter in terms of statistically from the 3-point line we've ever seen. But Dame could rival him in terms of his range, and he's the same as soon as he comes across half court. That logo Lillard, he's legitimately, he has some crazy range, and him and Steph shoot the ball from places that we've never seen guys shoot the ball, and with ease. It's not it's not a struggle, it's not a strain, it's a natural it's a natural shot. So just to see him do that, man, and see him just be that prolific. Again, it's just crazy to see that twice in 1 year. That's the biggest thing for me.
Dev?
Oh my God!
Right.
Man,
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I don't think we don't give Dame a lot of credit, man. We always be like, man, Dame, if you just go somewhere else, Dame probably will have a championship somewhere. And sometimes we just forget about Dame in some of these conversations. Is he in the top 10 point guard list? where do he rank in all time in point guards? Because without Dame Lillard being important, man, I don't think Portland would not exist. You know, the last good thing to me that came out of Portland is maybe Brandon Roy, and his career was very short. So for Dame to keep Portland just relevant enough to be on the map, number one, because nobody has Portland to go deep into the playoffs or even in the play-in conversation. So that means we kind of forget about Dame. For Dame to actually, because with all these point guards that we always get praised to, we quit to hurry up and get praised when Ja do something special. When Luka do something special, when Steph do something special, and you know, I mean, we never really have a conversation about Dame, and I think this kind of put Dame in the conversation like he's one of the forgotten point guards of all time, man. Ray, I'm not understanding what's the face expression because Dame had did some things. I'm not saying he's the all-time greatest point guard ever, but Dame has made his mark in this league. You know what I mean? Whether it's with a losing season or whether they make it to the second round of the playoff, Dame has made his mark. Here comes the hate. Here it comes, y'all. Here it comes.
That's the thing. When I was creating these topics, my thought was to come in here and hype him.
Boy.
And I am. I'm going to give him a lot of love because I think it's well deserved. But the hyperbole and this elevates him into a different. No, it doesn't. The reason he did or didn't get the fame or claim is because he ain't never did nothing. He ain't got no MVPs. He ain't won no rings. He had a good 3-point contest win, but the criticisms of Dame isn't fair. So I don't want.
He hasn't done nothing. Come, isn't that a bit of a stretch?
Dang, nothing.
Nothing.
His resume is what? He got an All NBA. Like what's on his resume? Like what are we really putting on Dame's resume?
So that's like saying what are we putting on Melo resume then? That's like saying what are we putting on maybe almost Barkley resume or Patrick Ewing or you know what I mean?
Somebody took his team to a finals.
Yeah, but Dame, they went to the Western Conference Finals one year.
NBA Finals and what ain't the same thing. And I'm not disagreeing with nothing you're saying, Dev. A lot of them names you named, I think they're similar. I think Dame would have to play a little longer for accolades and stats to mirror them, but you can't be in that top 5, top really 10 conversation. You ain't won an MVP or ring. I don't know how many in that category would fit for most positions. And especially not as a point guard. Like, you got to be an assist leader of all time. You got to be.
Don't start this. Don't start this. Don't start this. I just got back. Don't start this.
I'm just trying to, I'm just saying. Like, that's all.
But Portland never really gave him the opportunity to.
Don't do that. We're not going to do that. He had CJ. They made it to the Western Conference.
Oh, my God. You said, that's one. That's one. He had a young, I guess you're going to say he had the young Nicholas Batum. He had a young LaMarcus Aldridge. He had Steve Blake.
Those were good teams. That was a solid, good team.
But then in those early 2000s or mid 2000s, look who was still in the West, though.
I understand it. And that's why I'm saying, if you can't elevate above that, it's hard to be in those kind of conversations where it sounds like people are starting to elevate him off this one performance. And we'll get to how I feel about the performance in a minute.
I don't think it's one performance.
This 71.
He's got some 50s.
Some 60s underneath his belt also. So
listen, I'm only talking about this as this being an elevating game. He was already here, and this game took him to the next level.
I'm not saying he busted through. He should be in the conversation with Steph and Magic. You know how y'all two be going out. I'm not saying, all right, I'm
Yeah.
throwing Dame in there with y'all with the conversation.
That would be foolish. So we don't have to do that. That's the different universe.
Oh my gosh, man!
But
You have a gift of poo poo. Your poo poo gift is unmatched.
So where I wanted to go was they got to do something with Houston. Like, what made this for me
they even fire the whole staff in Houston.
way more impressive than Donovan Mitchell? He did this in 39 minutes. Like,
he had 50 in 3 quarters. I mean, yeah, was it 3 quarters, 50? Or at halftime?
Something like that.
Yeah, like 40, I think, at half. But this was easy. Like, he got hot, and they was like, all right, we'll see how high you can get. And we just going, we still, I mean, Houston's been playing like they're in an all-star game all year. Like, they play absolutely no defense. But you give a guy that kind of talent.
He ain't throw up a lot of shots either, if I'm not mistaken.
He didn't. So that was what was really impressive was the efficiency. He went through, he got it done, he put up the numbers, and he was definitely, I think at this point we could say hands down the greatest Portland Trailblazer ever.
Oh yeah, without question.
Yeah. He went 22 from 38, 13 from 22 from behind the three.
Like you that's not bad. Like, you can't argue with it.
God.
My point is, like, it's not like he was just jacking up shots. Like,
that's super efficient.
He was ridiculously efficient, and he gave you 6 and 6, like,
and 6 rebounds.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in 39 minutes, like, that's amazing.
But you want to know what's crazy? There's only one person throughout their whole team had put up double-digit shots. Everybody else was 2 for 2.
Who else?
And that was Jeremy Grant. He went 5 for 10 with 13 points.
Yeah. Well,
everybody.
When the guy's rolling like that, though.
Everybody else 2 for 2, 2 for 3, 3 for 6, 2 for 3, 1 for 5, 3 for 3, 0 for 2, 2 for 5.
I ain't gonna hold you. There's a couple people on here who probably shouldn't have shot.
Oh my God.
And just don't stop.
But
shoot.
Yeah. Much respect to Dame. Legendary night. It would have been even better in a playoff situation. I hope this can catapult them. I really want to see them in the playoffs. We'll talk about our playoff picks a little bit later. But no, I know we got through some of the jokes at the beginning, but this to me was better than Donovan Mitchell's performance just because of the efficiency, the time in which he did it. Obviously, the opponent
overtime, right?
Yeah, he did his did.
Mm-hmm.
So like this was wild. Like where this could have went to is different. And I don't know why he stopped at 71. I would at least try to get 72, but it didn't really matter, I guess. He just wanted to get to 70, and he did that. So much respect. And then you got drug tested after the game and stuck on a plane.
I don't understand it. It's like that's the second black person that gets tested this year after they had a 71. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not understanding what these drug tests. What are you poking at? Are you trying to say that these guys are not professionals, are not working hard at their craft, and they have to cheat? Because now it trickled from the NFL, now it trickled to the NBA. Because remember when AJ Brown had that explosive game this year, and he had to get drug tested right after. So I just think that's kind of a disrespect to some of these players, man. And I think that these sports leagues need to find a different way of coming at these guys having a, just because they had a great game doesn't mean they cheat in the game.
You can't argue with that. Can't argue with that at all. So anybody, did y'all have any more commentary on the Lillard 71 to make sure I give plenty of time for that?
No, you joked us out of it, so.
All right. So kind of in that same vein, we've seen some huge scoring numbers this year at a clip that is kind of crazy. My question for you guys is, does the NBA have a scoring problem? What I mean by that is, similar to the All-Star game we all witnessed and said we hated and the ratings echoed, is not only the rules prohibiting defenders from having any kind of semblance of ability, but is the skill set in the game just designed to be this offensive? Is that good for the long-term health of the game? I'll start with you, Dev.
I say no. Because now it's not only in the NBA you have to worry about, the high scoring, because now you got to take this game overseas because the Olympics be coming up, shortly. And now you trying to sit here and say that defense is not going to matter. All you worrying about is offense and trying to throw up points. But you got a team like Spain who like to get physical and like to play their aggressive defense on opponents to will their shots and make their game competitiveness. So I just think that you're making the game soft now. I just think that you just want to, now you just wanting these games to just be nothing but shootout. And that's about it. And to me, it's getting boring. I don't want to see 176 versus an 175 game ending, all because nobody wants to play defense. So I just think that you're making the game a little too soft now because you're making it one-minded. You're making it just this offense. Now that, you're going to have kids not worrying about defense. All they worrying about is making a highlight play, which, in defense, you can make highlight reels all day because Joel Embiid is showing proof. When Ja Morant said, if he wants to go viral, jump with Joel Embiid met him, at the rim. And now Ja Morant is still going viral because you got your shot blocked. And that was all on the defensive end. So I just think that you're crippling the game now to one side. And I think, to me, in my opinion, it's getting a little bit too phony for me.
Kenny?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, going back, because I'm an old head, so the rules that were implemented, back in the 90s and the 80s, and those during that particular time when you had the teams like the Pistons and the Knicks of the 90s, and those teams that won games or changed the game with their physicality, and these rules were implemented to try to free up the game because, again, to your point about the ratings in terms of, had a lot of low scoring games in the 80s, games in the low 90s. Even those Heat teams is another, team. You had those games that people said were quote unquote unwatchable. So now we're kind of seeing it on the other end of the spectrum in terms of, like, offensively, these games are just not watchable because it's just not a lack. It just is such a lack of physicality. Again, to Dale's point, and I think they're going to have to do something to address this, because not only in terms of the physicality, another reason why you can't be, the physicality is being almost ruled out of the game is because guys are looking for fouls on every possession. So it's like guys are not even trying to, make plays or play through contact. It's like they're seeking out contact, kind of the whole James Harden thing. And I don't want to totally put it on him, but he was one of the main culprits that kind of manipulated the rules to where you were just going in the lane and try to get fouled. And I think that's kind of that mentality is kind of seeped throughout the league, to where even if you're trying to D up, even if you're trying to, make that effort to keep a guy from the basket, it's a manipulation of the rule where a guy is trying to, making plays to try to get fouled, and it's not to score. So I just think that there's a bunch of problems that they're gonna have to legislate out of the game the same way that they did back in those days. They're gonna have to legislate it in some way, shape, form, or fashion to get the physicality back in the game. And I don't know if it's just modifying the hand check rules. I think that's one thing that they can look at is modifying the hand check rules, because basically guys get into the lane just without any type of, you're not impeded at all in terms of trying to get to the lane because you got free reign, because you really can't touch guys out on the perimeter. So that's just making the game that much easier. And the skill level is higher. The athleticism is higher. So if we don't add some type of physicality to the game, we're gonna see just this thing getting out of, and it's already out of control. That Friday game, it was 150 points. The Clippers game, it was 150 points in regulation. That's like all-star numbers. So I'm with Dev. You got to do something. They're gonna have to do something in terms of the rules to add some more physicality to the game because it's just getting out of control.
When the last time somebody fouled out a game? You know what I mean? Cause I don't think that rule even exists no more. Like after you get 3 fouls, you don't hear nobody really fouling out no more.
Nah, who just fouled out? Russell Westbrook just fouled out the other night.
A word?
Real super weak call in that crazy game.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody else. I think somebody from Sacramento fouled out too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But in overtime though.
Most of your most of your better players today are not playing that kind of defense, and they're the ones to play the minutes. So your bench dude to come in and get 4 fouls in 5 minutes, but he ain't gonna make it back in the game. So fouling out is kind of difficult the way they divvy up minutes. No, I completely agree with the lack of physicality. The other part to me, I think they gotta fix. We gotta do something with this. I don't know, discontinued dribble. I don't know what the technical term is anymore. But these carries and travels, you can't not touch somebody and let them basically run through the hole, and then they can pick it up and like Klay Thompson had a double dribble the other night that was just egregious.
Oh yeah, yeah, he did.
And it's like, what are y'all doing out there? Yes, 100%. The skill level, the ability to shoot and hit open shots, I'm with all that. But I love basketball. I've loved basketball since I can remember. This is not that entertaining for me to watch. Like, I got League Pass. I watch it a lot of the times because of the show we got. But this style and brand of basketball is just not exciting to watch from really anybody.
Not even college basketball exciting me this year, really.
I felt college basketball was just bad basketball for a long time, so I don't really care to march. And even that's still bad basketball, but I don't know. The skill is there, the talent is there, the athleticism is there. I don't know if it's a desire thing, but
it's effort. Defense is effort. Like it's and here's the other part that we probably got to talk about too. Is it a byproduct of this whole load management?
I don't think I had that on here, but I wanted to talk about that. I don't think I did put it on here, but
let's chit chat about it real quick then.
Yeah, because I am glad Anthony Edwards said what he said, and I'm glad some people are coming out, but this is a player issue. Like, I don't know if the NBPA just.
I think it's both though, but go ahead.
I agree. I think the teams started it,
right,
and then the players was like, "Oh, we can do this," and I've hated it for a long time, especially when you do it on the road, nationally televised games, all of that. Like the level of I would almost say disrespect for the fan, for the league, like. The regular season, people are missing 20 games.
It's just starting to be the norm now.
Like, not because they're hurt. And they're still getting hurt. Like, I'm not saying the benefit. The people that load manage the most get hurt the most. So I don't know the science or the statistics behind it other than just mental, but I am all in favor of the NBA and the players having power. But the NBA they got too much talent to be this ugly of a game right now. And to your point, Dev, at a bunch of levels. I didn't watch a lot of high school basketball this year. I didn't go to any games just because I was busy, but this isn't it. The offensive performances are exciting, but for me, this isn't sustainable long term. And I hope they do something to fix it. The load management, the rules, they kind of got the offensive flopping stuff out, which is cool, but I don't know. Like,
one thing that bothers me about the load management too is when they sit in there in their full jewelry pimped out gear. It kills me. They be sitting there trying to look all cute on the sideline when you hurt. I'm looking like, dog, like, no.
I don't want to see. Like, you don't want to see them.
No, if I feel like if you can't play and you're not willing to put yourself in, why are you on the bench? Why can't you sit in the back and watch the game? If you're gonna be all cute and decked out, you can go sit in the back. You know what I mean?
But then it would be like it would be, he's being selfish, or he's being a bad teammate. He's not on the bench supporting his teammates.
You think that's not? You think it's not selfish? You sitting on the bench, load management. Number one, not hurt. Number two, you sitting there all decked out in your jewelry while we out here sweating and putting in this fight. But you sitting on there giving me high fives every time you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I like the support, but at least be in your warm-up. You know what I mean? At least show me that I tried to be a part today, but today it's just, I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? But you sitting there what you came into the arena with, nah, dog, no, don't come in with your little furry coat and your 16 chains, and you know what I mean, looking like Frank Lewis at that boxing match, man. No, if I gotta wear this team uniform and the sweat so do you. You part of this team too.
Wait, hold up. Let me play devil's advocate. Now, if he goes, you put on a team uniform, you want to see this guy going through layup lines and then going to sit on the bench?
You can show me something. You know what I mean? You gotta
come on.
You better stretch.
You telling me you gonna watch this guy?
You better
warm up and all of that, and you go sit on the bench and chill out for the
because
game?
You gotta think, Kenny. 9 times out of 10, before anybody comes in the arena, before they even think about they gonna load management, these guys are working out. They trying to figure out, all right, is I'm gonna play this game? Is my quad hurting me? Or is it my tailbone that's going to be bothering me later? I need to figure, you know what I mean? They go through some type of test to see how they physically can play. You know, is you going to hurt the team or can you put it all out there? So if you can warm up 4 hours before the game, putting in 2 hours of sweat, why not? You can go out here in 15 minutes and do a layup line with me and say, all right, man, y'all go ahead. You know, y'all got the rest now. I respect that more than you go ahead out here with the Frank Lucas uniform on and you sitting in the front row and everybody talking about, oh man, look at LeBron with that fur and that hat, man. He is decked out, man. Look at him.
I'm not the one to criticize the fashion. I like it. I don't like when they jump up and you be celebrating. Like, I thought you was hurt.
Well, we all know that. Once it's load management, we know that it's not.
Nah. If you too hurt, you need a break. Sit your butt down. Like, no energy. Like that's a slap in the face. I thought you couldn't play. Or you need rest.
And you ran on the court and helped me up when I fell on the floor too.
Nah.
I just want them dudes sitting there like mute.
Sit on the back row. For real. I don't know if it's a home game why you even be here.
No emotion, no nothing.
They don't need to be there. If you are load managing, manage at home. Why are you here? Like, what are you here for? You ain't a coach. You can't do nothing.
Just imagine me and Ray load management tonight, and you out there putting in that sweat, and we telling you, oh, my hip and my quad is bothering me today. But as soon as you make an and one or you do something, me and Ray jump on the field. Oh, yeah! Yeah! Give me my handshake. Yeah! No! I know. Don't do, you show me that in the back of the a halftime or at the end of the game, man. Don't come running out there jumping up and man, if you can do all that, man, you can hit a little 15-footer.
Hey, you jumping up? Oh, go put a warm up on. Go put some shorts on. You can play. I don't like to see it. And then you just teasing me all game. If I paid for my kid to come in, you just sit there. Nah, go home. Let us focus on the people that are playing. Like,
now you got my kid asking me why LeBron not playing tonight. Why do we come to this game since LeBron not playing?
Well, maybe they got to do like the local broadcast for that night, so at least the fans can ask them questions and you can answer. Like,
I like that.
Do that. Like,
but if it's load manager, what are they gonna say? I'm resting my. Again, I got an issue.
You know what they need?
I'm only here so I won't get fined.
Right.
They need to have homeless people calling in, or some people that's working, busting their butts to make a living, calling and saying, "Hey, you don't feel like going to work today? Me either. But guess where I'm at? Work. I didn't get to go to the game tonight because I had to work. I would love to be at home doing nothing, getting paid a bunch of money to train. But no, I'm busting suds. What do you mean load management?
Like, well, we do have PTO, fellas. Let's keep it above. There's are some days that we use for PTO. Just saying.
Do you get?
I get paid for that load management. and I'm not going to work cheering my coworkers on.
Did you notice that they don't work back-to-backs very often? They don't work a bunch of other days during the summer.
Man, listen, like I said, it's on both sides because not only it's not just on the players, the owners, the management, and the teams they play a role in this as well because this all started. If we remember, this all started with the San Antonio Spurs.
That's what I said. They started
Tim Duncan and those guys, talk about, did not play old and all of that other nonsense. So, like, this thing started, and now, again, it's another thing that we're seeing a bunch of, this is like almost a trend now. We're seeing things that was intended to help the game that just wound up hurting it.
Hey, you know what I mean? Did we just have a little outage?
I don't know. Might have broke the internet or something. I don't know.
Big Brother's watching. We might need to stop.
I don't know. Did I say I
ain't stop critiquing NBA?
I ain't talking about LeBron and nothing. He ain't pushed the button on me, did he? Disney, Hulu, all them.
That was Dame. That was Dame for you not trying to give him his love for his 71 points.
I was trying to give it to him, but you was talking too crazy.
Oh, you normally talk crazy in the other day. So what's the difference?
You know, Dev. You know what it was like? It was like you ever seen a girl and she all right, she's solid, but she ain't all that. And then she get dressed up because she going out for a nice night, and she got the makeup, the hair, the nails, and so she looks great that night. She getting all these compliments, and then the next day everybody start talking like she's that chick. But no, she just got dressed up for one night. She's still the basic, average, decent girl. And I'm trying to say,
I'm not touching this one.
Oh my God! I'm just trying to say, don't overreact.
Are you delusional? Do you suffer from a mental illness?
You got to, because then next thing you know, she gonna want steak every night. and you ain't really a state chick. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
That's-
see.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
The thoughts of Ray, right? The thoughts of Ray Bond are his and his alone.
I stand on it. But yeah, as far as where we are with the scoring problem or the scoring issue, do you think anything's going to be done? Like, do you think the players care at this point?
Nope.
Like, what's the fix?
Effort. Yeah, referees and effort.
The PJ Tuckers of the world aren't really existing. You kind of got Jaren Jackson, but this may be one of them per team, if that.
Yeah, you still got a Marcus Smart. You still got a Drew Holiday. It's still some guys that's out. Look at Jared Vanderbilt the other day, yesterday against Dallas. He strapped Luke up. I'm not saying that he dominate Luka, but you know what I mean. He gave Luka a run for Luka went for like 25, but I guarantee out of that 25, at least 10 of those points. You know what I mean. It was tough for Luka. So like you say, it's still some guys that's out here that's willing to play D and know that's their mark. But as long as most of the fans want to see this offensive drive, and these high scoring games, that's what's selling right now. So I really don't see nothing until we find a problem with this. Until more people start finding a problem with the high scoring. Right now everybody loves it. Besides us a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're starting to speak out. We're starting to hear some people speak out against it. And once you know how that goes. Once enough noise starts getting made and the complaints and the things of that nature starts affecting the bottom line, then the NBA will address it.
All right. Well, I do hope that they address it soon because it's annoying and I just don't think it's working. But I did want to revisit, and Chris is not here.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
And he came to Baltimore. He ain't hit me up. So, Chris, we ain't homies right now.
He hit you on the way out the city. I saw the text, ladies and gentlemen. I would show it to you, but it's none of my business. Dev is not lying here. But this is a Philly fan, so what do you expect? There was flipping cars before the game.
Right.
Man, that man just tripped walking down the hallway for no reason. Just got blindsided.
My man got in and got out. You'll say, yeah, Dev, made it to Baltimore, but I'm gone. I'm like, dang, that was it? Chris, man, what's up with you, man? And then you going to duck us out today, man? You knew Kenny was coming back today, man. I don't know why you been like that.
It's all right. Not too much on Chris today. Not too much. He's a young kid. These kids.
Things happen, and then, he might still be in mourning, guys. His Eagles lost in the Super Bowl.
And an epic display.
Yeah, so.
Kenny back. Give him shots, Kenny, because he was giving you shots while you was gone, man.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
So I did want to get back to our playoff picks. We had quite the trade deadline, some seismic shifts. I don't know
epic.
What'd you say?
I said, talk about epic.
Yeah. Wow, Milwaukee's won 14 in a row.
Yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm. And Giannis haven't played since the
All-Star break.
Yeah.
That's all right. Okay, so with all the trades, a couple injuries and things like that, I don't know enough about LeBron's injury. So if anybody has an update, I've heard he could be out for a little bit.
They said he out indefinitely right now.
Yeah, so
they know what
weeks at least.
Is it a sprain? Is it a
broken bone? They just said a foot injury. Yeah, they ain't really named no ligaments or nothing like that. They just say he's out several weeks.
Good thing he broke the record. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, with that being said, I did want to give us the chance to kind of revisit where we were with our picks and give people the opportunity to make adjustments as potentially needed given the significance of the trade. Like, I think most of us had Brooklyn in the playoffs. Obviously, Brooklyn was very different today than they did to start the season. Phoenix is somebody I did not have in the playoffs. It's going to be hard for them not to make it at this point.
New Orleans, who I had in the playoffs, is now starting to fade away. They going the wrong direction.
Zion.
Hey, I told y'all, trade him. I've been said it. I've been saying it. His value is high. Trade him. I said the same thing about Clay. When people's value is high, you sell. The Lakers did a great job of building Russ's value back up and selling them and getting a nice little haul back. You cannot hang on to these people. It is a business. And now they stuck because they signed him, maxed them out, and I'm not even hearing talk of a return. Have y'all heard anything of a timeline?
Well, he just had a setback, so he was
supposed
to. Yeah, so he had to start getting back on the court, and apparently he was playing some 3-on-3 and had a setback. So I think they pushed the timetable back. So I don't even know if he makes it back before he maybe the end of the regular season. But
bring him back for what?
Well, I mean, if you can't not bring him back like the way
they did that last year.
But I'm saying, like, I mean, the way he was playing this year, though, like before he went down,
he's always played at an all-star level.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they were a contender in the West. Like,
they was number one.
Yeah, we said they was number one. Like November, December.
Get that guy back, and especially to your point, after you spent all of that money, you definitely gonna try to get him back if he can come back.
He gotta be looking at March. If he ain't back by March, you gonna start bringing him back for the playoffs?
Yeah, and with a hamstring,
or the play-in
could be tricky. So it's gonna be
because right now they got Golden State they would play Minnesota, and then they play the winner of 7 and 8 versus 8. So, and that's assuming they start winning some games. Because
I'm almost off the bandwagon, man. Like I said, I like the team that they built.
It's not 7-10, 8-9 for the plan. It's the opposite.
I think it goes 10-7,
and then 8-9, and the two winners move.
Yeah,
on.
so they'll play Golden State right now.
Okay, so I had it right. I don't know what that team's gonna look like either. So they can't stay healthy to save their life.
Especially if Brandon Ingram go down with another injury, I think that's it for their season.
So it's looking cold. Let's get into it. We'll start in the East. Kenny, you had Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston, Philly, Cleveland, Chicago, and the Knicks. How do you feel about those picks today, sir?
Well, I feel good about everyone except for the Bulls. That's about the only one that I probably would replace at this point because
they got Pat Beverly. They got a point guard now.
They do.
The
dog.
I'm gonna keep it positive.
I feel like he'd be your type of player.
You know what though? I'm gonna show. All jokes aside, Pat Bev is a dude that's gonna give you effort on defense. That's for sure. So he's not.
Is that what we call him, the effort?
To me, this is just my opinion. Defense, majority of defense is effort because in terms of help, in terms of boxing out, in terms of rebounding, in terms of fighting through picks, in terms of moving your feet, all of that stuff, all of that basically boils down to effort. So That's what it is to me. And he's the type now. Sometimes he does some some other stuff, some to get under your skin type of stuff, and some mental stuff to try to annoy you or whatever the case may be. But he does the bottom line, he does move his feet and he tries to stay in front of guys. I can't say that for everybody in this league. So he's one of the few guys I can say that he makes effort to try to stay in front of guys. I put it that way. But having said that, I'm just not sure about Chicago, and I feel bad for them because with this Alonzo Ball situation, he's another one. Like him and Zion are kind of almost in the same category where we don't.
He might be worse.
And yeah, no, I was just going to say my next statement was going to be. I think Lonzo is even worse
because his high hasn't been as high as Zion's high.
Right, and then his issue is a knee. Like a lot of the stuff with Zion is now with the soft tissue stuff in terms of with the hamstring, and he had an issue with his feet. But like with that knee, man, we know knees it, and even with the advances of technology, we know anytime you got knee issues that's the recipe for disaster, and that could end your career
at this age.
That's what I'm saying. That's ended many a careers prematurely. We could go down the line in terms of guys. So I'm just really concerned for them, and I don't know. I thought that maybe that this would be the second year of Levine and DeRozan, that they would kind of that maybe the chemistry would be a little better and they'd be able to play off each other a little better. And I've always been a fan of Vucevic because he's always been productive, but they just, I don't know, the mojo, I don't know if it's all the way there. Another thing, I'm not sure if they have the right mix and the right amount of talent in order to contend in the East, because if you're putting their big three against any of the other, the other big, or the combinations, like they got a weird combination. So I don't know. I'm just not, I would take Chicago out, and I would put Indiana. If I had to replace one, it'd be Chicago in there, and I would replace with Indiana.
Of course you would. That's cool. I understand. I wouldn't expect any different. Great analysis there, Coach. Dev, what you got?
Who ahead in the East again?
Oh, yeah, let me pull that up. I had the stand. So Kenny is swapping the Bulls for the Pacers.
Oh, my bad. You're Washington. Oh, that's why you said that. Oh, because I didn't put the Washington. Yeah. Oh, my bad.
It's cool. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, bro. We don't need no more fans on this bandwagon. It's cool.
My bad. Well, you did say Kyle Kuzma ruined the season, so we can only take yours with the grain of salt.
Nah, and I said they should have traded him, they didn't, but maybe they'll do something. He gone, as far as I'm concerned. Unless the market is not what he thinks it's going to be, which I do think he will find out. What he's looking for, he ain't going to get. But I don't know if that means he's coming back or not. So, whatever. Dev, you got Boston, Philly, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Indy, Miami, the Knicks, and Atlanta. I will preface that Dev made his picks on January 12th because he was not around initially, so he had a lot more knowledge than the rest of us.
Oh, man, first of all, I was out with my mom's passing, so I ain't even watched no sports during that time. So I wasn't nowhere near up on no knowledge of anything. But no, I take that one. I take that one. But I think I'm gonna stick with my East list. I'm still not sold on Indiana yet. Did I have Chicago on now? I don't think I had Chicago.
You did not.
All right, so yeah.
The only other low team you had was Atlanta.
Yeah, and I like Atlanta chances a little bit now. They look like they playing.
They're playing right now.
I think they playing a little bit better without Nick McMillan down there. I know Kenny got a little question about their head coach down there, but right now they playing significant enough to I think they can hold that 8th seed down long enough. So I can ride with the Hawks. So I stick with my team.
Okay. So everybody's kept the Brooklyn in. So it sounds like everybody believes they can hang in there. The coaching, Mikal Bridges putting up numbers. Y'all been talking trash about him all year. You got Brooklyn crazy. But that's neither here nor there. We don't have to talk about the Phoenix.
I think only because the way how the trade deadline and the season ending, like it's kind of close. I think Brooklyn had put themselves up close enough.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
They would have to totally collapse.
Yeah, and I don't really see them. So I can see them winning at least 15 out of the 23, maybe. You know what I mean?
Man,
I don't.
Let me take a moment here, and I don't do this a lot, but I do it enough when it's due. We've been talking about teams in defense.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Knicks have been playing phenomenal defense in this game versus Boston.
Yeah.
Like, they're active, they're long, their hands. Like, they're holding Boston in 93.
And they switching on everything.
Like, just a good performance defensively. And I think that's it's going to take for the Knicks to go as far as I think they might go when healthy. And that's another thing. Y'all been healthy a lot this year from what I can tell, which is a blessing.
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson, it seems like that's an annual thing with him. And we lost RJ Barrett for a little while. But other than that, we've been relatively healthy.
So, obviously, always hoping for health. But I had Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston, Philly, Cleveland, Toronto, and Washington. I am going to stay put and ride it out.
You believe in Toronto?
I'm leaving Toronto. I think they – do I have Miami? I do have Miami. Who am I missing?
Yeah, all yours are in.
No. I am going to make an amendment, actually.
Okay.
I have a big omission. I am going to swap Toronto.
Oh, you liar.
Or the New York Knicks. I'm including the New York Knicks.
Oh my God!
You didn't have the Knicks in your list.
I did not have the Knicks in my list.
Oh. Say that again, Ray. Who you swapping?
Oh, wow.
Listen, I am not this old fuddy that cannot be removed. If you prove that you're capable, I have to acknowledge that. And the team's played well. They've been good. I like the way they play. Jalen Brunson looks like a value signing right now. He looks like he might be underpaid. I did not think, I didn't think he was a max player. Is either he got paid because he got 4 years, 80, or he was like 500. I don't think I thought he was worth 100 million. I don't remember exactly what my critique was. I think it was how much he got paid.
You didn't think he was a max level player.
Yeah, I didn't think he was worth 100
million. To be fair, he only showed really over that past season in the playoffs in terms of him being a marquee player. So he hadn't done it over a full season. So.
And I do have to give credit. I do like this guy. Julius Randle's been pretty good this year. He gets a lot of criticism for only being able to go left, and some of his shot selection is not the best. But he's leading this team in his own way to this record. He got his All-Star appearance. Got to give him the respect. So
I think he got out of his own head this year. I think last year, when all the noise and the criticism was talked about, I think he got in his head and got in his feelings, and it kind of showed in his performances in some of these games. So I think this year he cleared that noise out of his head, and you can kind of see the difference in this year to me.
Well,
25 is hard to argue against.
No, that's big time. But I think the other thing is that, and I think I talked about this one of the times I was on before, got into, had to step off. But is that he started trusting Jalen Brunson to be the guy to control the offense. And I think that was the biggest thing. Is I think he was just trying to do too much. Like, when they first came in, they had the offense running through him, and he was bringing, getting the rebound, bringing it up court. They were trying to make him a point forward, and that's not really his game. He's he's an attacker. He's a slasher. He's a driver. He's a finisher. Like, so I think that Jalen Brunson coming in and relieving him of some of that ball handling, a lot of that ball handling responsibility, I think that freed up his game. So I think that's really the biggest difference. And one, to your point, Ray, about why Brunson was such a value signing, because he's come in and has clearly, taken the reins of this team and taking control of this offense, and you could just see the difference.
And to piggyback on that, being off the ball, it helps you conserve energy. So
absolutely,
you can do more defensively. You can maybe give it a little bit more offensive at the end of games because he isn't bringing the ball up all the time. He isn't running the offense through him, ISO on one side of the court, trying to just beat his man. Like a good point guard makes life a lot easier. So that's my flip. And hopefully they don't tailspin now that I've jumped on the wagon.
Is this a reverse jinx? Is that what we're doing?
No, I don't like being wrong. That's not. We're not going to do that part. So we got our picks updated. We'll get Chris's next time. It makes sense to try and get those, or we might just send it to us. But we did have an odd firing and an odd hiring for me. Like, y'all ain't the Rockets. Y'all ain't the Spurs. So I was a little unsure. Like, I think we all have Atlanta as a playoff contender. Like, y'all didn't make any moves at the deadline that of real significance. So I was confused. But with that being said, Kenny, you kind of want to drive this, so I'll let you frame it how you want. And we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, I just think I just had a problem with this whole process and how this was handled. One, for Nate McMillan, who's an established coach in this league, a guy who's won for with multiple franchises, multiple teams that he's won with, for them to fire him in the middle of the season after is it 2 years after him making a run to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then you give him a contract extension, and then 2 years later you fire him in the middle of the season when you're although it's the play-in, you are in playoff contention. Like, I got a problem. And then the other thing is,
real quick, I wanted to update. It looks like LaMelo Ball left the game suffering a non-contact injury. There's a fracture in his right ankle.
Ooh, I didn't know it was that bad. I seen the play, but ooh.
So I did want to give that update. He has left the game, and they said a fractured right ankle. So obviously prayers and support to him. That Ball family, man, they was rocking for a minute. And injury is just really robbing us of them, unfortunately. But I did just want to report that.
Definitely. Shout out to him, man, because he's one of my favorite players to watch in terms of his creativity and his imagination and the way he sees the floor. Like,
and prayers to Michael Jordan, who just can't seem to.
Oh, man.
You just heard Mikal Bridges might be coming back, not Mikal, Miles. And now Melo's out. So God bless him.
Can't catch a break. But yeah, I was just saying, I just think the way the whole thing was handled I'm feeling the type of way about it, and I have a problem with it. And this is no shade at Quinn Snyder, because he's a quality coach, but let's not act like his resume is so outstanding to where we bring him in the middle of the season, and then you keep the whole, you keep the rest of his staff there, and you just get rid of Nate McMillan. Like, it makes no sense. And then the other thing is that, like, the guys that you got running the franchise, Landry Fields and Kyle Korver, the GM and the assistant GM, like, what resume have they garnered as front office executives to be able to make this type of decision mid-season? Like, I just think that this was totally mishandled, and this is an unfortunate part of the coaching business, man. Like Dion said, my last statement, Dion nailed it. Either you get terminated or you get elevated. There's no in between when it comes to this business. And I just think Nate McMillan is another example of a guy that got a raw deal. And, as a black coach, I just have a problem with it.
Dev?
See, Kenny just gave me some game on certain stuff, man. First of all, I didn't. Was Quinn Snyder on their coaching staff?
No, he just stepped down as the coach of the Jazz over the last offseason. So he wasn't coaching nowhere.
All right. And secondly, I didn't know Kyle Korver was even in management position.
Me either. I found it out today. I knew about Landry Fields, but I just read the article, just them summarizing it, and when he said Landry Fields is the GM and Kyle Korver is the assistant GM, I was like, huh? They just finished. Have they even been retired for 3 years? Like,
that's what I was saying. Like, Landry Fields, we talking about the same Landry Fields that played for the Knicks?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But to piggyback what Kenny was saying, man, was there a problem with Nate McMillan or anything that was going down in the Hawks? Like, because the firing, when Kenny said something in the group chat, I was like, huh? I seen that Nate had, took his exit. I was like, well, maybe it was an internal problem that nobody wants to bring up about. But then still no news. So then when you said Quinn Snyder, I'm looking like, wow, where did he must have been on the coaching staff or something. But if there was no problem, what are they trying to fix then? So I'm not understanding of them getting rid of Nate McMillan, because Nate McMillan, to me, I would say is a better head coach than Quinn Snyder, in my opinion. Quinn Snyder had some great talent in Utah and didn't really do nothing with it. He had the Donovan Mitchell when he first got into the league, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
He had time to try to develop Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert still didn't develop in no shape or form. You had a Joe Ingles, you had a Mike Conley when he was still subpar guard. So you had a nice correlation of team, but all you can say for Quinn Snyder was he was able to get number 1 seed in the Western Conference, and couldn't do nothing. And where Nate McMillan had took his team to the Eastern Conference Finals, and took Portland deep into some playoff runs, and I believe Nate McMillan was somewhere else.
Indiana.
In Indiana, what he had, Roy Hibbert and Danny Granger and all them guys during that time. So Nate McMillan has shown that you give him.
Yeah, I think he was the coach on that time.
When you give him the talent and the pieces that he can win, he can get you deep into the playoffs. So I really don't understand what's the fire. Why would you get rid of you can just say a good coach. Only if Nate McMillan can win some championships, maybe you can put him in a different category. But he's a good coach that shouldn't be fired. Especially if he's not in no scandals or beefing with no players or anything in that nature. If he still can produce and draw some great players and put out the best players in whatever organization he's in, I believe that's what a head coach is supposed to do. So I really was caught by surprise by the Nate McMillan fire, man. I hope he can land a job somewhere where he can show his talent again.
I don't do this. I was listening to y'all talk, and it was like getting angry. It's a lot. It's Black History Month. first and foremost. And this was not a Black History Month like thing to do, to fire this black man and elevate this white man when this white man. And I was going to get there. And now that you said it, I'm going to go there. Joe Biden is president because of black people. Let me tell you that. And it's Atlanta black people that won him that election. And y'all suckers been disrespecting black people in that city ever since. Y'all tore down all that land, built that dumb police facility and training grounds. And now y'all do this dumb stuff. Y'all had the owner of the female team, the chick, talking crazy, doing some BS. What is wrong with Atlanta? Like, y'all bring out 2 Chainz and all these other celebrities to all these games, but y'all did this to Nate McMillan. Nate McMillan ain't Eric Bieniemy. Nate McMillan has coached at a high level. He's won at a high level. He's overachieved at a high level. This ain't somebody that was unproven, that you were unsure. If you were firing your coach, you know the coach is the problem. Or it's not a fixable solution. You think Quinn Snyder? Donovan Mitchell just said, I'm so glad I'm out of Utah because I get to see black people. Quinn Snyder was a part of that. It wasn't like he cultivated some environment that made Donovan Mitchell feel love and support from black people. And now you bring him to Atlanta with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, who I've been telling y'all ain't going to work. And now you bring a guy that's used to working with a ball-dominant guy that didn't figure out how to get a team to really work when it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
He had this same situation and failed at it. So I don't understand for the life of me when you got a guy that had Stephen Clay sitting out there waiting for a job, and you have a Murray young backcourt. Why wouldn't you go get that guy? He showed success with that kind of backcourt. There are other people that would be more qualified, but Nate McMillan shouldn't have been fired.
Mm-hmm.
What do we really think Atlanta was going to do this year? If Phil Jackson and the triangle offense was in Atlanta, they're not going anywhere. So why are we firing the coach?
I believe he exceeded with what the NBA was looking for. He exceeded.
The man had I think it was a 16. He was 16 games over 500 at the time of his firing. His career record as Atlanta Hawks coach, like, in the middle of the season, that's the egregious part. Yeah, right.
Like, the just rampant disrespect. It shouldn't be surprising, but it's like they find new ways to take new shots. Like, you did this in Atlanta, like the blackest of the black in America at this point, and y'all did this corny mess for what? Fortunately, he still gets paid. For what it's worth, Udoka's available. Like, there were other coaches available. And y'all just fired him and hired him. And we're going to get to the Bucks owner and that mess to me. Like, I don't get it. It's annoying, but I guess we should be used to it. And no NBA players, nobody really saying nothing. So it's just cool. And if they go on and win, it's Quinn Snyder, but they're not going anywhere.
They ain't going nowhere.
So when they fail, then what? These aren't Quinn's players. So now he needs more control. So who they gonna fire to give him control? Like,
and that was another thing. Thank you for mentioning that. They said that he was gonna have a say in personnel decisions. Like, based off of what? Because he brought his team to the second round of the playoffs? Like, what are we doing here? And again, like, you're putting this team in the hands of 2 inexperienced front office executives. And this first decision that they made out of the gate shows that we're going to have some questions in terms of how this roster is going to be built and how it's going to go moving forward. Because even as a coach, why would you want to come in the middle of the season, not have your own staff and then have the same guys? Basically, it's Nick McMillan's whole staff, and you got to come in there. These are not your guys. Any coach will tell you.
Promises were made.
I'm sure that they're going to finish out the season, and then he's going to be able to bring in his own staff. But I'm just saying the fact of the matter is you set up an awkward situation because I'm sure these guys as assistant coaches, and they were loyal. Their loyalty is to Nate McMillan. Like, why
they know they ain't gonna be here next year.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, you just set up a whole dysfunctional situation to where it's almost like you setting the team up to fail to go the rest of this stretch because it's just a whole bunch of confusion. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
Bad business.
It's so much of that. The more and more we learn about sports and entertainment, like this is a mess. And actually, I didn't have it on here, so let's get to it. I thought I added that. The Milwaukee Bucks, the majority owner, has sold his shares to the owner of the
family. Yep.
The Cleveland Browns. And I didn't even know the Bucks were up for sale.
Me either.
Mm-hmm.
We're still waiting on a bid on the Commanders, and somehow this team went up for sale and got sold. And who knew? Like, I don't watch Undisputed or really much sports talk, but I didn't see a headline or anything.
I ain't seen it till I got off today, and it was at the bottom of the screen saying the Milwaukee Bucks sold for such and such, what, $1 billion, something like that.
Yeah. So this to me is just Quinn Snyder 2.0, but on a bigger level. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I keep getting. It's kind of a joke. I get emails all the time from every company like I've ever done business with where they're changing their terms and conditions. I don't read them, but I've been getting emails for a couple months now of everybody updating their terms and conditions. Mm-hmm. And this to me is our country, and this to me is emblematic in the NBA that they are updating their terms and conditions. And something has broken, and they realize they're trying to fix it. So they scrambling, and the NBA and the NFL and these sports leagues are doing all this stuff. Manchester United is about to be up for sale. A bunch of people are selling teams, and I'm still waiting on the minority ownership. I didn't even hear anybody mention it. Like,
not none of the bids that at least I heard for the Commanders. I heard Bezos and somebody else.
So like there was a group, there was a Diddy group, there was a Ye group, there's been a bunch of different groups that Robert Smith had a group, and I'm just tired of dealing with this stuff. These backroom, backdoor, closed room deals. Like, I haven't seen a team sold like this. Like, this was like a thief in the night, like the Colts or something.
Clement Fertitta was the other one that supposedly placed a bid for the Commanders, the Rockets owner.
That's right. And that's the other thing. It's owners selling to owners that have teams in other leagues. Like it's
old boys network.
Yeah,
that's my issue. Like, I don't think that's in the best interest of the league. How old are the Haslams? Like,
they are old, if I'm not mistaken, man. Because
So who did you even sell to? Them? They're not going to be around much longer. And there's a bunch of them in the league. the Jerry Jones, the Fords, the Crafts.
Old money.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
old people. So hopefully more teams will be up for sale. Hopefully we can get some kind of diversity at that level. But
Oh, he's actually not that old. He's 68. Yeah. He's up there, but he ain't up there with Jerry Jones. You know.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'll give you that.
So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on the sale. I'll get you guys' opinion. Like, do you think this would be a good thing for a football guy to own a basketball team? We've seen kind of how the NFL is run versus the NBA. So guys, I guess what do y'all think comes of this, if anything?
Far as the passing to the being in that gentleman's club league, I guess you can say, if you my homeboy, I guess I can put you on the deal. I mean, that part of the, sucks because it's like you would never have a minority can get up there, because, these white owners only looking at their friends. They're not looking to spread the wealth anywhere else. They was like, hey, as long as we can keep it in our circle, what I mean, then nobody can take this from us. And what I mean, it sucks because like MJ, I don't believe he's getting the same type of resources as a Milwaukee Bucks or something like that. I'm not saying that it's entirely his fault, but I'm pretty sure that it's something that he's not getting the same information as one of those top white owners in the NBA. I'm pretty sure they be like, oh, it's MJ, he'll figure it out. I mean, we ain't gonna put him at the table with us. And and I'm pretty sure that's kind of making a lot of us minority wants to be owners in these top leagues in the NFL, the NBAs, because we're not gonna get the fair chance. So why try to bid on something that we're not gonna get the fair chance? Because like you said in the beginning, you hear the rumors, like you hear Diddy, you hear LeBron's people. The next thing you know, they just fade away. You don't hear their names anymore. Just like that time, I don't know, did Serena Williams and her partnership ever get partnership with the Miami Dolphins?
I think she has a minority ownership there.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
small, I believe. But
Yeah, it's a few, but it's all minority. We don't have, Michael Jordan is our only majority owner. I think
Right.
that, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of major sports franchise.
that I can think of off the top of my head, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Well, I'm sorry, Shad Khan in Jacksonville here. He's considered minority as well, but we talk about brothers.
Yeah, it's a little
But
different.
no disrespect.
right. So I mean, if Jordan don't really have nobody like him that could sit at the table and try to do the same way as the Haslam and the Jerry Jones, then we will never really see enough. It will take a long time. Maybe when LeBron can done with his career, he might can be the next majority owner, hopefully. Because everybody loves LeBron, so hopefully once LeBron can step into that pathway, maybe he can open up doors for the next set of person, in the next 45 years to come along. Because it's going to, it ain't gonna just happen. Once LeBron walked through the door, the floodgates is going to happen. Then we're like, all right, we let one in. Y'all gotta wait another couple more years before we let the next one in. That's just my intake on it, because like I said, the Bucks deal that flew underneath the radar. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know until like 5 o'clock this evening. That's when I found that they got sold.
For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, they got a big decision with Chris Middleton this offseason. The Browns did pay Deshaun, so
got some money to make him, huh?
Haslam ain't worried about that. They got that TV contract coming in for the NBA, and he about to renegotiate the CBA. So it's a bunch of money coming his way. He ain't worried about that investment.
Okay. So we'll keep it moving. On to kind of fun. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. I have been a Rob Pelinka guy. I am a Rob Pelinka guy. I do not think Rob Pelinka is anywhere near the problem, and I think he doesn't get enough credit for what the Lakers have done during his tenure. With that being said,
you messy, Doug. I ain't even seen this part of the show.
There comes a time in every man's life when obstacles are presented to them that you don't really know how to deal with, and I don't think there's a book on how to overcome it. So my question to you guys is, one, should Rob Pelinka have traded for Malik Beasley? And two, if the answer is yes, should he also have traded Scottie Pippen Jr., who is the son of Malik Beasley's ex-girlfriend that he ruined his relationship with over? Just for context. Dev, your thoughts?
Hey, man.
This just dawned on me what this topic was actually about.
I hate to say it, but we all make jokes about when Delonte West was messing with LeBron. Mom, so I guess
I didn't even think LeBron better watch out.
That's
not great flowing around that locker room.
So
you've seen Delonte West. Stay away. Stay away.
So, I really don't get into their outside of the court mess. I feel like this is almost like Love and Hip Hop, or Basketball Wives type drama situation. But far as making the trade for Beasley, yeah, he's a shooter. That's what the Lakers need. It wasn't like Scottie Pippen was coming on the court shooting jumpers for us. So that's a good deal. Now, as far as that drama part, man, look, hey, grown men, you know what I mean? Hey, I slept with your mama or however the situation is, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You can't get what was that saying on Baby Boy when Jody was like,
have a life.
There you go. So
favorite line in that
movie. You know, so there it is. You know, I'm not getting into the messy situation, man. That hey, as far as him getting traded to the Lakers for shooting privileges, yes, we needed him. You know what I mean? But Trey Scottie is like his value is nothing, you know, not that high as of right now. He did play some good ball in the summer league, but other than that, we haven't seen Pippen Jr. This year. So I'm pretty sure he's probably on the G League squad more than he's on the NBA squad. So you know what I mean? So I think Lincoln knew what he was doing once he brought Malik Beasley and said, all right, he gonna stay in the G League, right? All right, we're gonna bring him in.
So at this
make
point,
sure his mom don't come to the game.
If you're Scottie Pippen, do you request a trade? Because if you get brought up, that's your team.
Mm-mm. No, Doug.
Yeah, you can't. Well, first of all, when I saw this topic, I was like, Scottie Pippen Jr. requesting a trade? Isn't he on like a two-way? I swear, I did not put the two and two together until just now.
That's why I said I'm about to look at it. I said, "Oh, he been messy." I see where he going at with this.
Oh my gosh! But nah, he can't. He's a two-way guy. Like he has no leverage to be able to do that, man. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like that is definitely when in terms of trying to be a professional, that is the ultimate level of having to be a professional if you're going to deal with that situation. So
hey, Kenny and Ray, what situation do y'all want to be as a professional? What happened to Jordan Poole when Draymond punched him on tape?
Or
do you want to be in Scottie Pippen and Michael Beasley situation? Y'all got to choose one though. Which one would you want to be in?
Oh, that's rough. Hey man, you know what? I think I'm doing Jordan Poole because he snuck me.
All right,
I
right.
think I'm-
You want to be
That's
messy,
to my
Ray?
moms, and I gotta dap you up.
You
No, I
want to
don't.
be you
No,
want
I
to be
don't.
messy. You want to be messy, Ray? Which
Oh, no.
one you choosing? The Jordan Poole or the Pippen situation? You got to choose one.
I'm gonna take the Pippen because if I get traded or I leave,
You ain't getting traded. You stuck.
Yeah, you're a two-way guy.
You're a two-way player.
got
You are
no
stuck in
say-so
LA.
in this.
You are done. You can
No
see Michael
say-so.
Beasley in
So
practice.
I'm going to eventually share the locker room with this individual.
At some point.
At some point, it might be the last game of the season. It might be practice.
Actually, you know what? I am going to take Scottie Pippen because I know my mom, and the likelihood is there's a lot of places I can go, and I might have to deal with somebody sleeping with my mom. So, since I know my mom, I'm not gonna get punched on camera, and I ain't just get punched. I got like slept by my teammate for everybody to see. Nah, mom's a hoe. She got to live with that.
Hey, yo.
Oh my God! I can't control her.
Are you delusional? Do you suffer from a mental illness?
No, he said, "Mama's on. She gotta go."
I can't control balls.
I like your funny words, Magic Man.
She has a history, and like, if she's willing to sleep with like my dad's biggest ops son, like, I'm probably gonna have some problems at some point. So I might as well just get it over with.
Oh my gosh!
Like that man, my teammate was a happily married man. Like I gotta understand who my mom is. So yeah, she got it.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Ray chose to be Pittman. Kenny chose to be Jordan Poole. And
who are you picking, Dev? You ain't pick.
I'm with Ray. I already said Mama gotta have her own life, so you know what I mean. If she gonna have her own life, go ahead and do your thing, baby. You know, I can't stop you.
A lot of
you
young
probably
kids,
was doing this before I was born anyway, so I'm not getting slept on camera, and the whole world is making memes, and you know, I ain't gonna be able to do that. And I told y'all before, as soon as Draymond slept me, we fighting every day at practice. I'm making y'all make a decision between me or him because we fighting every day. Every time I see him.
Well, we don't. Yeah, I'm sure they haven't released it. They locked down that practice facility for good because I'm sure he flagrant fouled him that next day for sure.
and then Draymond probably ate it once,
right?
But I will say. Just goes to show the leadership of Steph Curry because we basically forgot that happened this summer. That's just how great that man is. Like, what can he do? The only thing he can't do is save Subway. He should just get out.
Man, yeah, them commercials are starting to be terrible now.
Man, they had one last ditch effort and they about to be out of here, so I won't miss them. Another person or thing I won't miss, hopefully, Jake Paul, ladies and gentlemen. The Gypsy King's little bro got Jake Paul out of here. I didn't even know the fight was happening. I know they canceled like 8 opponents. I think this came together in like a week or two, I guess. I don't know how this happened so fast. But he lost.
They said it was brewing for 2 years. That these two,
I know
they kept on rescheduling.
Yeah,
but he kept having like stuff happen. And then it happened, and he said he made $30 million. So great. Hopefully that'll mean he'll disappear. But I ask, where does he go from here as a boxer? Kenny, I'll start with you.
I think it's simply just you're gonna have to rematch because they have a rematch clause. So I think that's gonna be his first.
Yeah, they already claimed that it's going to be a rematch.
He exercised the rematch clause. So I think that's gonna be his first order of business is try to avenge that loss because you know that's basically the question that we had about him still hasn't been answered. And in order for him to answer that question, he's going to have to beat Fury. So I think it's simple that he has to try to avenge this loss before he does anything else.
So I'll stay there, and before I get to you, Dev. So they have a rematch. He wins. Then what? They fight again?
He's just back to being a novelty.
Okay. Dev,
At least for me.
Fair enough.
I actually watched the fight. I came home just enough time to actually watch pretty much the whole card, and some of them fights was pretty decent. Some of the fights was over with early. I'm talking about first round knockout. So they got to Jake Paul pretty on time. It wasn't too much lagging around, playing around. Jake Paul was playing around, because he made like a 5-minute delay before he came out at the time. At the Fury, they was calling for him, and he was still playing around, trying to put his shirt on and all this other stuff. But far as the match, now we've been saying that he need to fight a real boxer, and once he fight a real boxer, maybe we can see his flaws. And to me, I've seen a lot of flaws coming out of Jake Paul. He was telegraphed in some of his his punches. You can see that fighting a boxer, that those one hit wonders he was throwing wasn't really powerful enough. Like it was just, he was finally fighting somebody that can take his power and stuff like that. So you really didn't see his true power, like how he was knocking out Nate Robinson and Woodley and those guys.
Mm-hmm.
This Tommy Fury really was out there boxing. Instead of letting Jake Paul come to him and throw those punches, he was going to Jake Paul. And when he felt like Jake Paul was getting ready to land them good shots, he'd wrap him up, tie, and make Jake Paul frustrated. And he gave Jake Paul some good combinations. And Jake Paul really didn't know what to do. I think once he got hit a couple of times, Jake Paul was like, "Oh man, this ain't my normal fight. What I've been doing for the last couple of years, I might have to buckle down." Now, Jake Paul did knock Fury down in the last round.
Yeah,
I thought,
flash show.
Yeah, I thought that was going to give him the edge of winning that match right there, because it was the last round, it was the oohs, the eyes, but the refs was being stingy with some of the points on both ends too, because one of the times the ref took points away for Fury and Paul for what was it?
Was it really bad? Because I just reading on social media, they said the referee was really
the
bad.
referee felt like he was trying to be noticeable a lot. You know what I mean? It felt like he wasn't, because you can tell these guys wasn't like a Tank versus Garcia. You can clearly see that the difference in their performances. You can see like some fatigue kicked in. Not too many pretty flushes. It was more of a wish, might have wiped his face more of it than actually punch, might actually touching him. So you can actually see some of the flaws, but the ref was just like he was just trying to make a name for himself. He was trying to be like, "Hey, I'm the guy to be in here, so let me break y'all up. I told y'all the rules in the back, so we're gonna keep it just like that." So I think he was kind of getting away instead of letting the fight develop. It was like every time they hugged, he would hurry up and try to separate them, or he would stop the momentum when Fury was locking Paul up one point in time. The ref like kind of got in the middle, was like, hold on. Let's give Paul some breaks real quick. Don't beat him too bad. I'm looking like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you stopping the fight like that? So other than that, it's a rematch. I think these guys most definitely need to look at this tape and work on their flaws if they want to go to be taken serious to the next level of boxing. Do I see these guys stepping into the ring with some different fighters? I say yes for Fury, really. I think Fury might be the one that takes this career on and maybe try to live through his brother's legacy, because I'm hearing that the whole family pretty much was in the boxing. Jake Paul, for him, after this rematch, honestly, I don't know where to go at for him. Honestly, I think he should most definitely take on another boxer to see, where he's really at. But I think if he take another loss, I think nobody's gonna really take him serious no more.
That was gonna be Dad, I'm glad you led us there. My next question is, if he loses again to a pretty low tier boxer, what is the draw at that point? Like, we've seen him lose now.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the draw at this point?
I don't think he should quit. I don't think, we should. I don't think we should give up on him like we did Adrian Broner. At least Adrian Broner dug himself a hole for us to be like, all right, we done with him. I think Jake Paul would now get the message like, I need to really take this another step serious. Fighting UFC guys, it was cool at first, but if you want him to be taken serious, he has to fight another boxer. Whether if he win or lose, we have to see how do you bounce back after a loss now. You know what I mean? So I think that's his next step is how do he bounce back, and then if he do loses a second match, can he actually take on upper class of fighters?
Okay. We will definitely see. Kenny, your thoughts?
Oh no, I went already. I was first.
Oh, did you? Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
So I did want to get to the big fight announcement. We have an official date, and of course, I don't have it pulled up right now. I believe it's April 22nd in Vegas. Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia are officially done. It is set to be, I believe, a lot of fireworks. I am super excited. Obviously, a huge Tank fan. I think I will go out on a limb and say will be his biggest test. Barrios was good. Santa Cruz was good. This may be definitely his biggest fight. I think the numbers are going to be the biggest he's done.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yep, April 22nd. So yeah, Davis Garcia. Initial reactions: they were able to get the negotiations done. Tank apparently, I believe he settled his case, the hit and run case, or something happened there that this announcement came right after, because I think they got cleared up or something was done. But Deb, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on Baltimore's own Tank Davis fighting Ryan Garcia?
Finally, boxing is giving us a match that we've been looking for, because at first we wanted the Spanks in the
Crawford
match, but now that Boxing God is finally giving us something, a good test, a good match. I think is going to be. Hopefully, the undercards will be as good as the main event. But I think this is going to be a big test for Tank. I think it's going to be a test that I think he's going to pass. I don't think it's going to be an easy pass though.
So you don't think he knock it up?
I want to say yes because he's from Baltimore, but at the same time, Garcia ain't no slouch either. And if he do knock him off, it's going to be late. It's going to be at least about the 8th or 9th round, somewhere around that part. Because I say that it's particularly because Tank had a tune-up fight. He knows he got that the juice is flowing. And he don't have no rust on his belt versus Garcia. We kind of don't know what he be doing. I'm pretty sure he's, in his camp and is working out, but I think a tune-up fight would have did him a little bit of justice because, from his last fight that we seen him, we were just like, he was okay, coming back after a year or 2 years of not fighting, due to what I think he had a broken hand was his last issue or something. He had something dealing with an injury. So he his first fight coming back, he didn't really look too good. He has a little bit of rust. His speed didn't look too as normal as what he was before the injury, anything in that nature. So that's going to be the questions that we're going to bring up. How did he look? The last time we looked at him wasn't too superb. He got past his opponent, but I think if I'm not mistaken, it went the distance. So that's my only question about Garcia. So yeah, if it's going to be a knockout, I give it about 8th or 9th round. But I'm going with Tank all the way.
Okay. Kenny.
Yeah, well, so just to piggyback it, it's great to see us getting the fights that we want, because that's always been the biggest gripe that we've had as boxing fans is that the politics of it and gets in the way of us seeing the fights that we want. So I'm glad that we was able to get this done. I'm gonna hold off on my prediction, but I will say, yeah, I will say this because to be honest with you, I gotta watch a little more of Ryan Garcia. I haven't really watched a whole lot of Ryan Garcia, so I gotta watch him a little bit more. Of course, the power is always the big the game changer, and we know who has that. But I've seen Ryan Garcia's speed, so it's it's gonna be styles makes fight. So I'm looking forward to the matchup. But I think my biggest takeaway is that I'm glad that we got the fight that we want to see, and now we just need to get one more for this year. Is Spence Crawford. Now that we have this, like Spence Crawford, y'all stop playing around, stop all this dancing and all this posturing on social media. Give us that fight too. Now that we got Tank and Garcia.
Definitely agree with your final sentiment. If y'all ain't gonna fight, just shut up. Like, that's kind of my phrase for the year. If you ain't gonna do nothing, shut up. But my question for y'all, I don't think Tank has seen anybody with Garcia's speed. I don't know that Garcia has been hit by anybody that hits like Davis. Do we think Garcia's speed is going to cause Davis trouble?
I think it's going to slow him down. That's why I think, to Dev's point, that the knockout is going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen later in the fight, because we know, that's one of the great things about Tank is that he sets traps. So I think there's going to be, him kind of getting the feel and trying to, time and get his time and getting his pace and getting his rhythm in terms of when he can land that shot. I think it's going to take him a minute to, kind of time him up and figure out his speed in terms of when he can place his shot. So I think that's going to take him a little while. I think the first half of the fight is going to be him trying to figure that out. And then he, in the second half, as we get later on, he also try to drag him into the deep waters as well to see if his condition is going to hold up as well. I think that's the other part of the strategy too for Tank.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Kenny. I think will Garcia catch Tank a couple of times? Yes. And vice versa, will Tank catch Garcia a couple of times? Yes. But I think also, with the speed, like Kenny said, it's a trap, because we didn't seen guys that rushed that Tank and got caught with something, and then those guys is landing in between the ropes or on the canvas. So you kind of don't want to be too fast, going that Tank, especially if you're not going to connect. I think it's going to be a lot of filling each other out in the early rounds, because both of those bring those different uniques of boxing, and Tank don't want to get caught with none of his speedy, and also Garcia got a little bit of power too, so you don't want to get caught with that. And then like me and Kenny just said, you also don't want to fall into that trap of Tank, me coming at you full speed and you catch me on the sneak one, and now I'm laying on the canvas. So I think it's going to be a lot of filling each other out in the first 3 to 4 rounds. I think you might get a little tap here, tap there, but we're not gonna really see no hands really let go until about 5th or 6th round.
Nah, I think Tank will start touching him way earlier than that. But I think the biggest thing for me is going to be training and pedigree. And I don't know who Ryan Garcia been in front of, but I know who Tank been in front of. And Santa Cruz could fight. Rolly, for what it's worth, he could still fight and punch. Barrios could punch. And he walked through, went up in weight, and got all of them out of there. Isaac Cruz is another really good fighter. Got him out of there. So I'm leaning Davis for sure. I think he can go early. I think if he catch him early, it's over. I don't think Ryan can take Tank's power. I haven't seen it. I've seen his little videos on YouTube where you punch him in the stomach. I ain't seen him get punched in the face with a punch he ain't see coming. So I don't really care about the YouTube videos. It's cute, but this ain't that. Tommy found that out when she fought Natalie Nunn.
Man, that was not a fight. That was not a fight. We're not even going to talk about that. That was not a fight. That was a waste of ring equipment and video.
No love, damn it.
Man, that fight should have been on Love and Hip Hop Reunion or something like that, man. Like, no. I'm glad I didn't see that fight, but the clips that I seen, I said, I'm so glad I wasn't home for this one.
They ain't get my money. Shout out to Floyd, stealing money still. He's figured it out. He's one of the few black people that figure out how to rob people regularly.
He said, look, if VH1 don't allow y'all to fight on their station no more,
I got you.
Come to TMT. I'll let y'all fight. Just throw the gloves and the helmet on.
He fought on the Zeus network. I never would have thought Floyd Mayweather.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
Black
Zeus started.
It shouldn't be. Like, it's all the bad underbelly of black culture, but we will monetize some stuff. So
the commentating was terrible.
It was cussing.
Was they? They was like, I can't believe this. Tommy Bass stopped and playing, and I'm looking like, oh man, okay. Put it like this. Do y'all remember that Jake Paul, Nate Robinson was Snoop was all in them playing on the commentary? That's that divided. That's that divided sound.
Say no more. Say no more.
But I do want to, before we get out of here, I want to touch on an important topic. And I don't have the young man's name, but a gentleman, I think it's Alabama, is currently under investigation for, I think, conspiracy because he bought a gun for a teammate. And
Brandon Miller, I think is his name.
Since then, he's continued to play. The basketball team has allowed him to play. But my question for you guys is, do you think he should still be playing? And if so, how should it be handled? Dev, I'll start with you. Or actually, Kenny, I'll start with you. Sorry.
I would say because I ain't had too much information.
I've been.
Brandon Miller.
I've been. I shouldn't say not really following it, but I caught it on a couple of the sports talk shows last week. And I'll just say this: like, I'm not sure, in terms of the legally, he's not charged with any crime, so I guess technically he should be playing, but I just think it's a bad look. Like, and then the other thing is I don't know if y'all heard about this, but how they have these, they have the, during the, the introductions and the guys go out and have the handshakes. The pregame thing was him coming out there and the dude patting him down. Like, that's just in such.
Hold up, time out. Wait,
you heard what I said. You heard what I said.
And I'm pretty sure it was a white teammate who did it.
Yeah, like that is in such poor taste. So, like, I think he should just be suspended one game just for being stupid. Like, because
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
no. I'll end with this because like all of these things that you're doing, it's just a bunch of. And if you when you get a chance, just read some of the things, even the stuff that the coaches said. Like a lot of the stuff that has been said has just been like really poor taste, almost ignorance, and like just a comedy of errors in terms of how to handle a really tense and tough situation. So I just think they look bad all around. Nate Oates as a coach looks bad. The university, the basketball program, the athletic department, the whole nine. But I just think that at the end of the day, like you gotta, even just for that pat down thing, like you gotta sit him down for one game just as a way to get his attention. Like, bro, like you gotta understand like the situation that's going on. Somebody lost their life.
Okay. Dev, I'll let you go first.
Wow, number one.
That is it.
Or if you're not ready, I can go. I can give you some more time if you need it.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Because like I seen it, but I was like, nah, I don't want to touch on this because I don't know too much of the facts about. All I knew was he allegedly gave a teammate or somebody a weapon, and it wound up turning into, like a murder investigation and stuff like that. And then I was more heartbroken than anything. I was like, dang, man, it was like, why is it always happening in states like Alabama, Mississippi, stuff like that. And then first of all, it's like, if he on a basketball team, how is he? I know his guns are accessible, it's easy to get to at certain parts of, in this country. But number one, what did he need it for? Is he in trouble or something in that nature? To be connected to something like that. Secondly, to pass it off to, how do people know that he passed it off? Is that a video that caught him passing it off? Or
It's
the
text
person?
messages.
Oh, text message. Okay.
On January 15th, according to police testimony, Miles, then Miller's teammate, texted Miller asking him to bring Miles's gun to him.
Oh, he should. If it's facts, then you got to be suspended. Honestly, I understand that what Kenny said. He didn't get. He's not charged with anything in that nature. But at the same time, if you got evidence to say that he was participating in this situation, I hate to say, you got to suspend him, because now you bring in jeopardy to the university. You bring in jeopardy to the basketball program itself, and you bring in bad attention to you and your family now. Because I know some of these kids is trying to, using basketball to take the gateway to get their family, out of the situations that they in, if they make it pro or anywhere they trying to make it to. But it sounds like he's making the bad decision all the way around. Because why are you texting somebody that information? I'm not condoning any illegal activities, but you got to be smart about it if you're going to do it. You know what I mean? And where you can trace your phones and text messages and calls and stuff like that is you're not doing it in a smart way. And I don't know. I think he should be suspended. And the pat down, I just think that you're taking advantage of of the university not actually punishing you, and you do some celebration like that, a pat down, like, damn. It's like that's like a double slap in the face. So that's just all I have about it, man. I'm so torn in between, because like I said, I ain't really keep up on this information.
Fair enough. Let me be very clear here. Somebody did lose their life. Never a joking matter, never fun, like all that jazz. So y'all know where I'm coming from. But how is Brandon Miller supposed to act? I ain't been charged. I ain't do nothing wrong. and y'all want to sit up here and drag my name, and y'all want to chant, lock him up, and do all that other stuff while I'm playing, and I'm going to give you this 40 piece, that speaks to me, his mentality and mindset. And to that person, oh, y'all want me to be this villain? I'll be the villain. Here's a pat down for you. Like, get over yourselves. Y'all are dragging me. I'm assuming, and I'm taking this perspective, I ain't do nothing wrong. I helped my teammate. I did whatever I did. And y'all want to give me a hard time? I'm going to give you one back. Baker Mayfield had some of that in it where you piss him off, he going to go lower. So I think it was childish and maybe inappropriate and petty. I do. Do I think he should have got suspended for that? Like, what are we talking about?
No, not the pat down. You know what I mean? If there's the text message to prove that, you know what I mean, you pretty much is in the crime now. You know what I mean? Because that's like saying if you get into a store.
So here's from what they understand.
Okay.
He got a text saying bring someone else's gun. It was not his gun.
Right.
He got a text saying, hey, bring me the teammate's gun.
Okay.
He brought the teammate's gun to the scene. The teammate, from what I understand, gave the gun to someone else. And then that person that now had the gun in another party got into an argument.
Okay.
And somebody was murdered.
Okay.
I believe that's based on what I know and what I've read is the synopsis.
Okay.
So I'm Brandon Miller, by all accounts, a lock lottery pick, and I've been giving y'all buckets all year, and y'all turn on me like this over that. I ain't got a ton of remorse for y'all. Like, F y'all and y'all feelings. Like, I'm a kid, and I'm a balling. I did what I thought was right at the time, and y'all gonna crush me before even the final verdict is out. I got something for you. Do I necessarily agree with it? No. Do I understand it? Yes. Am I gonna kill him for it? No. Like, he's a kid, he's a baller, and unless y'all can prove something, come get me. Insensitive coach remarks, I didn't like it. There's a lot of stuff I don't like, a lot of stuff I'm not gonna kill nobody for. Pun intended, I guess, but maybe poor taste. But I'm just not gonna overreact to this situation when I just see too much other stuff going on that get passes. And I don't know that he necessarily did anything wrong. I just think he was petty and immature. So I guess we'll wait and see how it plays out. Capital murder is a heck of a charge. Like that's a big deal. So once
especially down, it ain't Alabama one of the states that still believe in the death penalty down there, if I'm not mistaken, or
don't quote me on that, but I believe you're right. It's most of them down there do, but few actually perform them. And I know there's been some back and forth on it, the humanity in it. So I don't know if they still do. So yeah, I guess we'll see kind of how it plays out. But yeah, if it's this idea, I 100% stand on if you're innocent until proven guilty, you shouldn't lose a check. You shouldn't lose nothing until you're proven guilty. And at that point, you get the full extent of the law. But people that lose jobs and spend a bunch of time in jail and all this other stuff and sponsorship deals, we just watched Oklahoma football players get exonerated. She lied. And their lives were ruined. Like, I've seen that happen too many times and start suspending and jumping on people off allegations or before there's any kind of real due process. So I really, and actually I'll take this. I applaud Alabama for this stance, and I hope they don't get bullied out of it. But I respect and applaud them, and obviously he's really good, so there's incentive for them too. But and the tournament's coming, but yeah, respect to Alabama for my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some more research on it. Like I said, I seen it, but I didn't really read into it, so I don't know like what part he really played in it. But I'm most definitely gonna do my homework on it.
Excuse me. Cool. Well, fellas, before we get out of here, do y'all have anything for the people? Anything I need to know?
No, man. Just we're working on some more episodes with some creative people. So stay tuned for that, Ray. We have some more interviews we're trying to line up. So be ready. I'm gonna need you to hold me down on the production side. But yeah, nothing scheduled yet, but some stuff in the works. So stay tuned.
Cool. Dev, what's going on? What you got for the people before we get out of here?
My 99th thought will be out Thursday. Most definitely. And I'm most definitely working on bringing y'all two on. Most definitely one episode at the same time. One episode, I want to add because I need different opinions on certain stuff. Most definitely Kenny on the coaching tip and Ray. I just need Ray to be Ray as always.
Ray going Ray. I just because it's ASAP. Now, you know what I'm saying? This ain't my platform, but
Ray is going to Ray.
I'm most definitely
get to it.
I'm most definitely working on those episodes to bring y'all on. But far as right now, my 99th thought will be out Thursday. I'm most definitely pushing towards getting on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can find me on all platforms.
Cool. We all know what it is. Bond Chronicles every Monday at noon. Patreon's usually dropping on Thursdays at 8 a.m. And you also get the Monday episode at 8 a.m. So we doing some cool things over there. Been on a lot of trips. Went to a concert last night. Some great content from that. But also Pelicans lost again tonight to the Magic. Paolo goes for 29-8-4. I think the runaway rookie of the year at this point.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap.
So yeah, New Orleans, tough sledding. Sometimes it's just how it goes.
Helping my Lakers out a little bit.
Y'all got some work.
Might not be enough though, especially if LeBron is up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And so that we got to go. It will be interesting to see if the Lakers play well, and LeBron's out a couple weeks. What happens when he comes back?
I think we're going to do all right. I ain't gonna say we're gonna win majority of the games, but I think we most definitely gonna need a lot of help for us to slide in now, since he's taking a break.
And D'Angelo. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
You also got to think about that. AD gonna have to work harder. There's more wear and tear on that body.
Oh boy.
Bron will get back just in time for the AD to go back out again.
Man, hopefully not, man. Not going wood on that one.
Yeah, please. Because the dude is so talented, man. You just want to see the guy be healthy, because when he's healthy, he's a problem. So stay healthy, AD.
Sure. AD, much prayers to you, and you staying healthy, and everybody else. I'm watching somebody in a Baylor Oklahoma State game getting helped off the court. So prayers to everybody, your knees, your ankles, everything, your soft tissue, Zion. Please get healthy, people, man. We didn't talk about it. Remind me. Did y'all see the tweet from the NFL, Byron Jones? Did y'all see Byron Jones?
I did see that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we got to talk about it. And your dad question too. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, I
got to get some
Chris here for that.
So y'all stuff off of that. Yes, for sure.
So yeah, please, Kenny, Dev, remind me. I do want to talk about that tweet, because there's a big deal, and it's way too late to try and rush through it. But
send that tweet to the group chat.
Yeah, I got you. But y'all be easy, man. Stay up, stay safe, and we should see you on Thursday.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the